Hi, I'm Ksenia Chernaya, a certified nutritionist, certified wellness coach, and member of the Russian Union of Dietologists and Nutritionists. This is a channel on good nutrition and health. You often ask what dishes I cook at home, what I like the most. Today I reveal the secret and present to you the top 5 recipes from my kitchen. Watch until the end, like this video, and ask your questions in the comments. Today I will tell you not so much about the recipes that you can find on the internet without me, but about the constructor dishes, which can be either the base of other dishes or a great addition to the main dish on a daily basis. Also, these dishes will cover our needs for foods that we are eliminating for gastrointestinal recovery, namely sugar, gluten, and dairy. These will be our alternatives. And we will start with my favorite bone broth. I think many people know that bone broth is the basis for many traditional cuisines, including Russian. If we take a book by Elena Malakhovets, you will see how many dishes are prepared based on the bone broth. We are going to talk about bone broth, not meat broth, as it's now common in most families. Let's analyze the nutrition value of bone broth and understand why it has been used since ancient times to treat inflammatory processes, including arthritis and autoimmune diseases. Bone broth is a strong bone broth cooked on a low heat for a long time. We do not use meat for this broth. As a result of long boiling, the connective tissue contained in the bones, bone marrow, tendons pass into the liquid, giving away all minerals and amino acids. When the broth cools, it solidifies thanks to the natural gelatin, which is contained in large quantities in chicken feet, bones, pork chunks, and beef calves. Bone broth owes its unique properties to the amino acids proline, glycine, and glutamine, which are present in large quantities in connective tissue. They're especially abundant in collagen, and these amino acids are essential for the production of enzymes and neurotransmitters. The amino acid glutamine is essential for mucosa repair not only in the stomach but also in the intestines. Glutamine can repair the villi that are damaged by celiac disease or excessive bacterial growth. So if you want to heal the mucosa of your digestive system, bone broth is a great remedy. Glycine, which is also found in bone broth, plays a huge role in protecting the intestinal mucosa from bacterial infection. This is why chicken broth is prescribed for various intestinal poisonings. Also, bone broth reduces inflammation and pain in joint diseases, especially rheumatoid arthritis. This is because bone broth contains glucosamine, chondroitin sulfate, and hyaluronic acid, which we need for the synthesis of collagen. I hope you have already gone to get the bones, but in the meantime, I will tell you how to cook bone broth properly. You don't have to cook it every day. Your main task is to boil it once in a large quantity. Choose the largest pot you have. The bones should take up about 1/3 of the volume of your pot and 2/3 should be water. If the bones are half of the pot, your broth will most likely turn out muddy when it should be clear. Which bones do you use? The best case is to take various joint bones. Simply put, it could be elbows or knees. You can also take chicken legs, necks, and wings. Chicken parts are very easy to find. We need farm bones. Of course, it doesn't have to be store-bought bones or chicken because it's crucial that all nutrients releasing into the water are healthy. For 2 kilograms of bones, we take 3 large carrots, 3 stalks of celery, 4 slices of garlic, 2 medium onions, 1 teaspoon of Himalayan or rock salt. You can also add 1 tablespoon of vinegar, either 9% or unfiltered apple vinegar, in order to efficiently draw minerals out of the bones. You take 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 4 bay leaves, and 4 or 5 liters of water. So how do you cook it? You rinse the bones very well, pour water on the bones in the pot and add all the vegetables, bring it all to the boil. After it boils, you add a spoonful of vinegar. Once you have added the vinegar, turn down the heat to a minimum and simmer the broth for a long time, for a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 48 hours. Don't be afraid, Start with at least 12 hours. What do I mean by slow heat? The broth should not be bubbling and boiling. You should have these little bubbles rising from the bottom. You should simmer. You cover the pot with a lid, but not tightly. There should be a small gap left, or a small hole in the lid. You can also cook the broth in a pressure cooker, then you will need 3-4 hours for this. Ideally, on this heat, the water should not boil over. If necessary, while you are still learning how to cook bone broth, you can add small amounts of water in the process, but still try to cook it so that the water does not boil out. Once your broth is cooked, it becomes clear you have to cool it down, discard all the vegetables, and strain the broth. How do you use it next? Of course, you can make different soups with bone broth, traditional cabbage soup. You can use bone broth as a base for vegetable pure soups, and thus you will saturate them with amino acids, fats, and minerals. It's amazing to cook different cereals in bone broth. Take rice, buckwheat, or quinoa and cook these grains in bone broth. In this way, it's easy to sleep to the children bone broth under the guise of cereal if they don't like to drink it. The broth can also be used as a standalone dish, or you can pour in it a mug. It will be a real healing remedy to heal your mucous membranes. If you don't know what to snack on, bone broth is a great option as it has amino acids, minerals, and fats. You can see that you can make bone broth once but use it in many different ways. Bone broth can be stored in the refrigerator for at least a week, and bone broth can also be frozen. You can pour it into special freezer bags. They should be marked BPA-free, which means that they do not contain bisphenol, and store the bone broth in the freezer for 4 to 6 months. Take it when needed, defrost it, and use it in a variety of dishes. Bone broth can also be frozen in silicone molds if you don't need large volumes. The next recipe is sauerkraut. You can use sauerkraut as a side dish, a salad, add different herbs, onions, or cranberries, and it will be a great source of probiotics. Why do we ferment vegetables in general and cabbage in particular? First, cabbage is not only probiotic, a source of lactobacillus, but also a prebiotic. Prebiotics are fiber, it's food for our beneficial bacteria. The beneficial bacteria found in sauerkraut can activate the growth of beneficial flora and restore the immune system. If your children do not like sauerkraut, then you can add just the juice of sauerkraut to their food, in the soup for example, or just give them the juice. There are so many recipes for how to cook sauerkraut. I'll give you my favorite and easiest recipe. Of course, I don't add sugar. For a 3-liter jar, we take 3 kg of cabbage, preferably not a young one, but of medium or late maturity dates with stiff, stubby leaves. We also take 3 medium carrots, a tablespoon of salt, and 8 bay leaves. That's all we need. Wash the carrots and cabbage, shred the cabbage, grate the carrots on a coarse grater, sprinkle with salt. We mix everything well, cabbage, carrots, and salt. Add bay leaf and mix well with your hands. You can add your favorite spices and black pepper. Next, we take a jar and tamp it very tightly into layers. We take a small amount of cabbage and tamp it very well. You can take a pounder or just with a first, and so layer by layer you tamp the whole jar. The cabbage should reach all the way to the top. So if you don't have enough cabbage for a 3-liter jar, take a smaller jar. It's crucial that the cabbage is filled to the top. Put the jar in a deep bowl and leave it for 3 to 4 days. The cabbage begins to ferment at room temperature, starting at 20 to 21 degrees. Once or twice a day, you will need to deeply pierce the cabbage with a knife or some sharp metal object. We pierce to the bottom in order to release accumulated gas and to ensure that the cabbage in the future is not bitter. While the juice may leak out, you gradually refill it back in with a spoon. The jar itself should be covered with a lid, but do not close it tightly, you can just put it on top. After 4 days, we try the cabbage, it should already be ready. Close tightly with a lid and put it in the fridge. The longer the cabbage stays, the longer the fermentation process will take. I remind that sauerkraut can be a great side dish, especially for a protein meal. You can serve it with a meat and fish and poultry or with eggs, because cabbage will help in digestion of protein food. In addition, cabbage can be stewed or used in our traditional soups. Enjoy! The following recipe will also be very useful for you and your kids. It's nut milk. If you need to exclude cow's milk and dairy products when recovering the gastrointestinal tract, no need to get upset, I'll show you the analogous. You can make nut milk or seed milk at home. We do not use milk from cereals, buckwheat, rice, and oat, as they are fast refined carbohydrates, and in 40 minutes this will turn into glucose in our intestines. We are going to make milk from nuts and seeds. The proportions are the same. All nuts and seeds except for quinoa are taken in raw form. Soak a glass of nuts or seeds overnight and in the morning drain the water and wash the seeds or nuts again. Then take 2 or 3 glasses of water and add water gradually. Put the nuts or seeds in a blender and add 2 cups of water. Blend on fast speed. You can stop at 2 cups of water and add another one. After that, strain the resulting mass through gauze. You will be left with the nut meal, and all that drains is the nut or seed milk. You can leave the milk as it is, or you can continue to whip it, adding dates or different spices, nutmeg, vanilla, turmeric. This is up to you. What nuts and seeds can you make milk from? It can be almonds, cashews, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds. Such milk can be used on its own, or it can be added to different cereals, cooked at home as an ice cream, or made into different desserts such as chia pudding or panna cotta. From fatty milk like cashews or almonds or coconut milk, you can make various yogurts. Take probiotics and ferment the milk for 2-3 days. You can also use the leftovers nut meal to make various nut crackers. The next product and dish made of its green buckwheat. We are all used to eating the usual fried buckwheat. It's also useful but not as valuable as its predecessor, green buckwheat. In fact, green buckwheat is the most valuable kind of buckwheat since it's not fried, unlike our usual traditional buckwheat. Because of this, it has a huge array of nutrients, ranging from B vitamins to all the minerals. We can eat green buckwheat as it is, it doesn't need to be cooked. You soak it overnight and rinse it in the next morning. Rinse well, as green buckwheat can produce mucus when soaked. In addition, soaked green buckwheat can be used to bake various kinds of bread. One of mine and my child's favorite recipes is green buckwheat curd. What do we need for 3 to 4 servings? Take 2 cups of green buckwheat, 250 to 300 milliliters of water, 200 to 400 grams of any berries you like. You can add 1 or 2 teaspoons of honey and take 2 bananas. Rinse the buckwheat well and soak it for at least 2-3 hours in order for the green buckwheat to swell. After soaking, rinse the buckwheat well from the mucus. I remind you that this is absolutely normal, and let the water drain off. After that, transfer buckwheat to a blender and gradually add water and start whipping it. You can add water as you like, maybe 200 milliliters will be enough for you, and you will like the consistency of curd already at this stage. Once you have the curd, add berries, bananas, and honey, if you need it. I don't add honey. You can add more fruit, more berries, you can take other fruit instead of bananas, you can add avocado to make the curd fattier. You can sprinkle different seeds and nuts on the curd as you or your kids like. The 5th promised recipe is ghee. I just have to tell you about it because it's quite simple and way more healthier than butter. What is ghee, why everybody talks about it so much, and how it's better than butter. First of all, ghee is butter that is not simply melted, but melted for a very long time. In the process of such a long melting, lactose and casein are removed from milk, and this is its main advantage compared to butter. Ghee is also ideal for frying, stewing, and baking due to the fact that it has one of the highest smoke points, namely 250 degrees. Ghee also contains butyrate. Butyrate is butyric acid, which is a major source of energy for the growth of beneficial flora. This is how we use ghee to influence the intestinal microflora. Ghee also contains combined linoleic acid, which has proven to be a good fat-burning agent. As strange as it may seem, where is the connection between ghee and fat burning? Ghee also contains fat-soluble vitamins A, E, and K and helps absorb vitamin D. How to make melted butter at home? You need 82.5% butter, a saucepan with a thick bottom, best case if you have cast iron, a wooden spatula, gauze, and a glass jar. That's it. Put the pot on a medium heat and put chunks of butter in the spot. Wait until the butter is completely melted. Then turn down the heat to minimum so that it starts to melt slowly, not boil but simmer. We need foam. The foam should become dense, white, thick, and over time you should see the foam thicken, and through your foam you should see brightened areas or perfectly clear crystal butter. This means that our process is moving properly. After 20-30 minutes, start to gradually move the foam away and see what's going on in the pan. The butter itself should be a beautiful golden color with a caramel flavor. There should not be any burning smell, and it's very easy to burn the butter and then it will darken. We don't want this to happen, so the pan should be on the lowest heat possible. As soon as you see that your butter has become crystal clear and there are no white grains on the bottom, it means that your ghee is ready. After that, you should strain it through gauze and pour it into a glass container. Keep the ghee either in the fridge or at room temperature, it's also fine. But if you are going to use the ghee for a very long time and have prepared a lot at once, it's better to keep it in the fridge. If you use the butter within 2 or 3 weeks, you can keep it at room temperature. Enjoy my favorite recipes, it's affordable, it's delicious, and everyone in the family loves it. Bon appetit and stay healthy. Subscribe to our channel, don't forget to click the bell so you don't miss new videos. See you soon!